Hello, everyone. It's me, Travis. That guy. Here I am again, almost 2 months later. And you may be like, look, Travis, I don't know if this is the way podcasts work. You can't just, do whatever you want. And when it comes down to it, guys and ladies and whoever's listening, welcome. If you forgot, I'm Travis Straw. I'm an artist from San Francisco. And this is the podcast where I talk about stuff that goes on in my life. Sometimes it's art, sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's whatever. I could get into it. But, whoo, let me tell you. So, the last time I did one of these, I think it was before I went to Arizona. So it was like January 19th or something like that. And so I didn't have a job, and I was doing a lot of artwork, very free, very nice. And I just finished my first week at my new job, which was good. I'm working for my old boss, who is literally my favorite boss ever in my career, and you know, cool beans. But I gotta say, let's do the last 2 month roundup. I went to Arizona to Phoenix for fun, and it was a cool time. Me and Amanda, essentially, our platform is, or our method is, just to walk around, and sometimes if there's something worth having plans, we like pin that. I think I made one reservation for like Wolf and Rye, I think was the restaurant. And I don't know. Cool. Went to a casino. I think it was like I won like $1,000 there. And that was just off one slot machine, and then we left. And you know, look, you didn't miss out on much other than, like, we went to the desert. I got a job, and life's just been really loud for the last year for me, and it's really kind of becoming more clear why. And it's you know relationships are incredibly dynamic, and it goes beyond, like, you could love someone with all of your heart, and that won't mitigate anything, and you guys know I just got married in November, and I mean, technically we did the paperwork last May, but how do I say this? I mean, it really just comes down to, you find out more and more about someone, and I don't know. I'm right now, I'm like negotiating with myself whether or not I should get too into it and whatever, but it is my podcast, and I don't know who listens. I don't even check the metrics for this one. So I don't even know where to dive in, because essentially we all have what I like to call, like, it's just like a metaphor or whatever. It's called a little demon, and mine is completely like, I found out so long ago what mine was. Like, I'd kind of would be quiet and by myself and really introspective, and also super hard on myself, and and just like in my head all the time. And I was like, in middle school, I was like, I don't know if this is normal. I would like look at everybody else, and I think way too much, and I didn't really know what any of this stuff is. And hop, skip, and a jump, I don't 12 years later, and I have like I'm diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Not to get into like the nitty gritty details, but it's something I've been working on my whole life, to have it not have power over me. And it's something I'll do my whole life until I'm dead, is fighting my little demon for power. And also to try and see if I can like use its energy, right? Because energy goes into those bad feelings, and they're from your nature, your nurture, whatever. This whole suite, it just like forms this part of you that feels like it's you. Like before I started to question it, I was just like, okay, this is normal. Normal. It's normal to think about all these depressing things all the time. It's normal to be this sad and to be like scared and all these things. Everyone's doing this, but it's not true. And it's not until you like identify that you can truly like have ownership over your life and have mastery over your anxiety. And like for me, I would test myself and try to grow. And if you meet me now, you wouldn't have any clue. Maybe if you're like more introspective than most people, some like a tiny handful of people have been able to be like, oh, and then I could also identify it in other people. So I have always known about Amanda's, and me and Amanda have talked about it, and I'm really patient, and I really I love to love people, especially, my wife. I love her to bits. And so a part of our relationship that is very hard is trying to help her with that journey of hers, because she has her stuff, as anyone would, and recently, I guess it just feels like that's like I told her from the beginning. I'm like, this part of you is trying to like rip us apart, like it's doing its best. And I think, the roots of that I won't get into, but I'm like, it's difficult for both of us. And every time something would happen, we'd just sit down and have a conversation, and we've done that throughout. And I don't think that at any point it won't be that. I think that just as I have mine and she has hers, no one's perfect. So we're both going to screw up, and it's about being there and meeting them and being supportive, and also being healthy about it. And it's just been turned up to 11 this year, and I don't know. So like starting my new job and trying to find time for my artwork in those pockets, and also like navigating relationships. Life can just stack and stack and stack. And I believe that we've made some sort of like progress that I've never seen before. Like it's not so much the ability to see what the issues is, but to let that live in you, and also let that not be like an insult to you. To have issues is human. And some people think when someone points out something, it's like an insult to you, but it's not. Like if someone was like, Travis, you have depression, I'd be like, yeah, I do. Or like, you have anxiety. I'd be like, yeah, I totally do. Like, and like, I know that I like to shop a lot. So like a long time ago, I told myself, you can't shop unless it's like a incredibly unique scenario. So I don't. And so I'm always putting limiters for myself so I could succeed and not like bankrupt myself and whatever. But it's so funny because like I can gamble with like no worries at all. I go in with a cap. It's all rule based. It's like my jam. It's like a self-contained game. So once I'm done, like I either hit a win peak where I'm like, okay, let's stop for today, or I exhaust my bankroll and I'm done. But in life, it's like, I know I don't eat ice cream because I love ice cream. I don't eat donuts because I love donuts. I like this last week, I've started a no carb work week, which is essentially just 2 hard-boiled eggs in the morning, some coffee, and then maybe at lunch, a handful of like like a couple sheets of, you know, deli turkey, nothing too huge. And at the end, just literally, and this is crazy, like boiled chicken. That's it. Boiled chicken breast that I cut up into cubes, and I put some salt and seasoning on it. And that's it. And that's my week. In the morning, I wake up at 5:30 to go to the gym. And this is all to try and make time for more stuff. But on top of that, like marriage, guys, like I told Amanda this, it's like, and she gets it too, because it affects her. I am not experiencing like relationship, like challenges all by myself. She is too. Like the way she can act is counter to how she feels. And that's weird. And we're trying to get her, because I can't do anything. I can't like flip open the Amanda, admin console and get in there and like make the changes. I can't do that. So all I can do is if she does something off the cuff that like that isn't good, in the sense of like it makes me feel like, dog poop. I'm going to say something, because part of my life experience is standing up for myself. I used to think that, I didn't have any value. And this is one of these things that I fight every day. Like I have to tell myself I have value, because if I don't, there's like a hole in that bucket. That bucket has a massive hole. And so if I don't do anything, the I believe that Travis has value thing, and then it's done. And I'm like, I don't have value. I don't have value. I'm here to serve others. And if I'm not doing that, then I better be doing something productive, because I'm a piece of poop. and that's it. That's like my gear one. Gear one is Travis sucks. I'm not talented. And I essentially just don't even deserve to be alive. That's gear one. That's me. And I had to figure out that I did that to myself. Like, how weird. But I also, like, part of that journey was like going backwards and seeing where it comes from, because it almost always are products of your parents, and not that it's their fault. So I'm like, okay, where does this come from? And 100%, a lot of it comes from my mom's side. And we've talked about it too, me and my mom. And she's totally acknowledged all of it. Like she has, and the Han side of the family are all up in their heads. And they're super, like, just kind of dark people, like, in their core. And I'm like, oh. And then, like, so much other stuff. So that journey, to me, it's fun. But because also I'm, like, protecting myself. I've had some, like, pitch black moments in my life that I never want to be back to again. So when, like, I've managed to be like, it's not okay that if I'm in because I've been in a lot of toxic relationships. I've been, unfortunately, and no shade to them currently, these are people that I cared for and cared about, but I was like so like just in a pit, and they and who knows if they knew. They never know. No one knows when they're being like controlled by this weird core thing that everyone ignores. And I don't know if I'm making sense, but like there's a point where you're acting emotionally and it's negative, and you got to learn to protect people from that. And that's what I do. So it's a weird abstract thing, but it's totally cool. And I have faith that Amanda, and I've seen it, like she's seeing the benefit of having full control. You start to feel like your choices are your own choices to like be healthy, like mentally and physically. And, I don't know. But so even though I don't do this podcast thinking that anyone's going to listen to it, except for, of course, Amanda's mom, Kathy. Hello, Kathy. And it's so funny because this is the way I live my life, and my family is very much like an honest family. Like we talk about literally like everything, and if someone is like hiding something, we're like, hey, like basically, are you good? And if someone's like, I'm tripping, but I don't really want to talk about it, or I'm tripping, are you sure you want to talk about it? So we are a family of communicators, like no, like, and that's how it's been my whole life. And a part of my journey was figuring out that most people are not like that, and they don't want to talk about stuff, and they want to just live in whatever state they are without challenging what most people could probably already see. So Amanda, of course, because it's challenging, was like, I'm going to go talk to my parents about this stuff. And I'm like, great idea. We'll see how they feel and how it goes, because I know her parents, lovely family. I love these people. And I'm like, I hope it goes well. And remember, it's for you. You're just like letting things go and talking about it, and talking with your dad and talking with your mom. And remember, this is like, it's kind of, and I made the comparison of like, it's kind of like admitting you're an alcoholic in that sense. Like there's a point where you have to actively own, like, I am this, and that's okay. And part of that journey is making it real in your life, like saying it out loud to people you love. And so she went, and it's like, dang, that's awesome. Good job. I don't know how her parents feel about me now, because part of me is like, are they going to think I'm over here just like terraforming their lovely child? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. This is just, I mean, and then who knows? I could be a crazy person, sure. But I mean, my history in my life is championing people's ownership of themselves, their brain, like their whole person. Like I've done it in my family. I've helped, like my dad. I've, since a very young age, challenged him. And now he's grown incrementally, but still we have a great rapport. When my dad isn't like, when he gets in his, like, the way he can be, I could challenge him. And since I've come from that spot, he knows I'm not making fun of him. There's no reason to be defensive. He like will listen, and I can successfully be like, hey, this is how you're acting. Like, maybe, like, how do you see that? And he'll be like, yeah, I get it. And sometimes he'll like thank me for letting him know, because it's hard. Sometimes, some people, it's hard to examine your own actions and think, oh, that is kind of like not cool. And with my mom, we endlessly talk, and with my big brother, with my little brother, and soon probably with my little sister, who I've helped throughout her life as well when she was younger. And, I think the easier thing to do in life is to not acknowledge that you have any issues, because it's scary. I think it's scary. I don't know why I am the way I am. No one told me or helped me to look inward. Just one day, I just thought, this can't be normal. And it wasn't. And I went to a therapist. I went to a psychologist, and I went further and further. I read books, and I wanted to understand more. And some people, it's hard and it's scary to think that there's something wrong, and that it also doesn't mean anything negative. You look inward, and you know that it's there. So you're just kind of like, put this in your blind spot. You're like, that doesn't exist. Okay. I am okay. I am perfect. But I think the journey of being a human is realizing, where are those things? And you're like, this is it. This is me. This is me. This ugly little cherub is me. And it's like, cool. And then it's only at that point you can move forward and truly have ownership of your time and treat people the way you want to treat them. Anyways, I don't know. Um, I'm hopeful, and I, you know, have a job now. And even though that means that my time isn't all mine, it does mean, money in, which is nice. And now the foundation to start a family is there, which is like weight lifted off my back, because essentially me and Amanda, I was like, I don't think it makes sense to get pregnant while I didn't have a job. And now it's like, okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. As long, like, for forever, essentially, until, the company is, who knows what will happen in the future. But for now, we're good. And baseball's about to start. I'm thinking about going down and to Mucky Duck and watching spring training if they have it available on TV. And I don't know. What a rigmarole. Like, what a crazy thing to listen to from your perspective. Like, I'm a little jacked up on caffeine, but it's a big part of the last couple months, and it's a big part of why I haven't done this. It always ends up robbing you if you become weak. For me, my strength and security weakens against this thing. And when I say this thing, I mean my core. That is the you suck, just die core. And when it weakens, it tells you, for me, it tells me like, it's like, just put off the podcast. Just, take time to figure out what it is you want to do. And it all sounds so supportive, but in the end, it's asking me to do things I know don't help me. I should, like, part of the thing that keeps me and my brain healthy is being gamefully employed and earning goal. I'm a goal-oriented person, and that's also a tool to keep myself in check. I have so many things to keep myself in check. And because of that, now I can calmly and accurately and also like sympathetically like lead people through what I consider like the darkness. Like, I'm here with this lantern, like, come with me. It's like the light's this way. And then I'm like, we're going through it together. And to be able to break down the very complex and subversive ways we fool ourselves. Like, if you're sitting there and you have 9 million things that you should be doing, but you're always coming up with reasons not to do the things that will help you, that's a little demon. If you're always trying to curate and make your life like super mega comfy, if anything goes wrong, you freak out, that's a little demon. There's so many versions. But, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, wow, this dude's full of himself, what an ego, that's your little demon. because I'm not doing, like, I'm saying this just in front of my computer, being recorded in our little second bedroom that Amanda finally cleaned up, which is really cool. Like, I since she's moved in, she's like a clutter bug. She has a lot of stuff, and one of her issues is she keeps buying more stuff. And I'm like, why do you do that? And she's like, I don't know. And so, like, I know that there's stuff in this room she doesn't even know she has. That's when it's like, one of the tools I have is like, if someone has a massive room, like my parents, of course, they've lived so long on this earth, they've accrued a humongous collection of crap. And so there's a shed at the Fairfield house that's just full of stuff. And my question would be to my dad, who wants to keep all this stuff, what is in that shed? The roll top desk is in there. What else is in there? And if you could name those things, we could keep those. But everything else you forget, we're not going to keep. I haven't done that because, I'm not a monster. They could collect all the stuff they have. But Amanda, I told her, like, if we ever get a massive house and we have a massive storage, we have an Etsy store. Like, we both like to shop, and we both like come up with a reason to shop. We turned it into a business. So it's like we go out and shop, but it's for the store, and then we sell it. And that's how it's been. We've been doing great. Like for me, I'm like, dang, I didn't expect to sell anything. And recently I've sold more prints than ever on our Etsy store. So that's what I mean by using that energy and turning it to something good. Like, so now Amanda is incentivized she has an excellent vintage clothes to sell these clothes. She doesn't wear any of them, so she could cycle her wardrobe with money from her wardrobe. That's awesome. And it's just this fun, problem solving. Oh, I love to do. Oh my God. Why do I always burp during these podcasts? But this episode is so ridiculous because it's hard. It's so funny. Like me and my little brother Kai have talked a lot in our lives. And a lot of what he says has just stayed in my head. And Kai is anti-relationship for whatever reason. But I know one of the reasons is he says relationships are like the core of all problems. And I think that's true. Because relationships aren't for the faint of heart. I know that. I knew that marrying Amanda. It's not, marriage isn't like, we did it. We're going to live together. We're going to be so happy. It's like, we did it. And now we're going to find out way more about each other for the rest of our lives. And I think where marriage fails, the reason there's an incredible failure rate is the dynamic problem solving that needs to happen. No one, once you join, and I explained this to Amanda, I'm like, we're a business now. We're legal. We're legally documented. We are two people. We are an entity together. And in that, there will always be problems. For sure, 100%. I don't see that negatively. I'm a problem solver. I'm an analyst. I love all of it. And I'm here to break it down. And also, I listen. There's so much stuff you have to do to succeed. But there's two ways to succeed. Either a couple gets married and experiences incredible, dynamic, soul-shattering conflict. And I'm speaking to my parents. And it's great because I know they don't listen to this. But also my mom would totally tell you all of this too. Again, we live in an honest thing. My dad would deny it all. So my parents, who have a 9-year difference, got married almost immediately. My mom had my big brother, me, in succession, pow, 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 4 kids. And in those years, my mom found out who my dad really is, who we all love. We all love Doug Straw. He's an excellent, he's a personality. He's an eccentric guy. He can be very funny, but he could also throw tantrums and be a little baby. But she found out who he is, but since my mom came from where she did, she's like, this family's staying together. And my mom, I think at one point must have made that choice. We are staying together because she came from a family and so did my dad. Both my mom and my dad come from families of divorce. And The more, and it's funny because the more you look into a family, you really see the data. You really see like the actual data of like failure and success. And I think in all relationships, it succeeds because one person decides to take the high road. One person decides this will not fail. And I, in that, accept this as a whole. So in what my mom did, she accepted my dad and said, this won't fail. And my mom turned her love and her energy toward her kids, I think. And that's how she could sustain it, because beyond my dad, she had us. And that becomes like a method for everybody to focus on the kids and not the marriage. So luckily for her, her kids have challenged her husband and our father throughout. Like my dad has existed on the planet being like challenged by all of his kids, like in different ways. So, and now we're here and we all love each other very much, but we all live in this, arena where you can't really escape. And I think Kelsey has really, and Kelsey is, Eric's wife, has really settled in, and she seems like a great part of the family. She's in it. She buys in. And from the moment I met Kelsey to now, she's really grown. I feel like I feel she's relaxed, and I think she, and not that I've talked to her about it, but it seems like she enjoys being a part of the family. And maybe she's just really good at like fooling, like seeming that way. But she's also not that kind of person. I don't feel like Kelsey would put on a fake face if she didn't like it. I think it'd be pretty easy to see. Amanda is the same way. We all love Amanda very much, and she's very much a part of the family. And then it's so funny because Kevin, Ellie's husband, who I like, we all appreciate for who he is, and we love Kevin as well. It's just that he has a lot of pride and has, blown up at my little brother for something he did at a board game. And one time, it's so funny, my mom, he was going off, and my whole family was there, and he was just going off on essentially all of us, because we were all trying to talk to him about something. And he's like, at the end of it, he's like, I just don't want to talk about it. And then my mom comes up to him and says, that's okay. We don't have to talk about it. And then there's like a beat. And then my mom says, but, and then lets him, my mom is a very caring person, and says, I want you to know that we're not attacking you. We love you. And totally just pumps him up a little bit and reminds him that no one here is attacking him. And then we didn't talk about it. And later on, he apologized. And it's like, cool. I prefer a family that doesn't want to escape. And I think that's how we've succeeded. So that's how I want my marriage to succeed. It comes down to, personally, I promised myself that I would be married to a person that I think can get to that point. To the point where it's us. We can say anything. I am your unwavering champion, and you can be mine. And then in that system, I'm caring for you, you're caring for me, so no one has to wonder where the care comes from. Nothing you can say will dissuade my love for you. Of course, there's even if it was pitch black and it's like I cheated on you or whatever, if she told me in honesty, I prefer that. Allow me to react. I want it to be honesty. I want no enabling to happen. If I was off my rocker and I'm just getting like hammered and I'm not connecting with Amanda. I want Amanda to sit me down and be like, what's going on? And not just let me do that. You know, we all send signals of our status, our emotional core status all the time. And it's not like quantum physics. It's like, wow, Travis is acting weird and everyone can perceive it. It's what someone does with that perception that defines them. You know, lots of people just don't even want to know. Like, like we had dinner, me and Amanda have dinner with my grandma, Grams, my mom's mom, my only living grandparent. She is 89 years old. And we have been meeting for dinner even before Amanda. And then Amanda came on board and we still go. I just cooked dinner for Amanda and Grams this last time. And then we went to London and London. We went to Scotland and whatever, Oxford was an emotional nightmare. Like everything broke down from like Amanda couldn't stop herself from doing these like offhanded, backhanded, weird activity that hurt my feelings in the end. That's it. And I'm not like I'm a pretty tough guy emotionally, but I'm open to Amanda. So she can hurt me 100%. And that's her right as my wife, you know, I don't think, but that was terrible. So we can't, and Amanda knows too. We talked about all of it. And then we came back and then I hit Grams with this stuff. And Grams is one of those people who she's not like my mom. Like I like sometimes if someone asks me how something goes, I usually say the exact thing. You know, if you're asking me the question, it's like, are you ready? Here it comes. Like I'm never going to be like, yeah, London was great when it wasn't. So I hit her with that. And then Grams was like, at the last point of it, she was like, I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. That's why it was just really hard. And, you know, I get why marriage is hard. And Grams is like, so Amanda, do you want some cookies? Like after my whole thing, Amanda, do you want some cookies? And then of course the like, my family also will defend anybody who I am talking about. So Grams immediately defended Amanda, which is, you know, I told Amanda she would do that. I told her that my whole family will do that because in the end, it's abstract. I remember when me and my little brother were living together and he ended up having an issue with me based on his little demon. And then we had this like incredible like conflict time. And for me, it just happened because we were in close proximity. But in the end, I ended up helping him unearth what he didn't know about himself. And then like a year or so later, at the end of that, he left. Well, he moved down the street. And then we didn't talk for a long time. We'd show up at family events and we could still, no one was being a jerk. But I knew in my heart, I'm like, there will be an opportunity where Kai and I will have to be honest again. And it happened. And he apologized and thanked me. And now we're the best we've ever been. And he can live with more ownership of his soul. And he's growing in such a positive way. Like, this is a man who used to say there's no sense in food. Food is food. Like, it's dumb to talk about food. Why do I want to travel? Like, all these things that were limiters that he couldn't see. Now he's going and traveling and making music in different states and different areas. He's meeting new people. Like, he's really finally buying into the spice of life and he loves it. And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you? But that he wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't fight the war against his little demon with him. So it's fun. And I know this is all scatterbrained and it's all, I don't know if there's a through line. Who knows? I know that I do this podcast to kind of help myself. It's another tool to help myself to process life. And I want to do this. I want to do this regularly. And I want to put it out there so that if anyone listens, they can. There's a little bug on here. Gross. There's a bug on my microphone. It was like very tiny. But I want to put it out there because maybe it helps. Maybe you just enjoy listening to me, which is fine too. Hello. But it's a process. And in marriage, you either one person decides to accept the other person and then kids happen, or we're doing it the other way, which is probably the least traveled path, is always be fighting for each other. Always be working to grow each other, to say the hard thing. Even if it ends up not being true, to always have an honest platform to listen and to actively be in it and not expect it to be perfect. And there's this old sentiment that it just takes time. And it's so bogus. I remember previously, and I'll be wrapping up here. Previously, my big brother was going to be married to someone else. He was engaged to someone else. And I hadn't met her. I was overseas, and Eric had finished his career in the Air Force. He met her in the Air Force, and she wasn't a complete a-hole to him while he was deployed, because that typically in the military, if you're with someone and you're deployed, the deployed person or the person who's in the desert can't, do anything but be in the desert. And then the significant other usually cheats or ends up breaking up with him. It's a sad, sad, very real thing. But this person stayed, and Eric asked her to marry him, and I'm like, cool. And at one point, it was Grams's 80th birthday, and we were all going on this. My uncle made it possible for all of us to go on this Tahiti cruise together. I was in Guam. He flew me back. Incredibly generous thing to do. Thank you, Uncle Britt. And that's when I first got to spend time with his ex. And I'm like, oh my God, immediately. I'm like, who is this person? And then I went to a backyard barbecue to meet the family with my family. And these women were so mean to their men. And I was like, this is bizarre. And these aren't like unsuccessful men. These are I think one of them was the chief of police, very accomplished dudes. And the whole time the women were just ripping on them, and not in any fun haha way. It was venomous. And I'm like, whack. And on the cruise, as I experienced Eric, I was like, there wasn't any light or happiness behind his eyes. And Eric is an incredible person. He's so funny. And if you have an issue, he'll you could talk to him about it. He's not like me where he's up in your face. Eric will sit back. He talks too, but it's just different. But in my mind, just as powerful. And there was no light behind his eyes. And I'm like, what? And they had been together for a while. And crazier still, as I was on this cruise ship, systematically, everybody that came on the cruise ship from my family party, including the Hans, came to me and expressed fear and concern for Eric. Everybody. And I didn't go look for it. I wasn't like going, hey, what do you think about Jen? Like, I was just having a good time. And people came up to me and just said, yo, something's up. I don't know if it's good. From like my cousins to like my aunts and uncles to my siblings. And the last person was my dad. And I remember we were in the front bar. There's a piano. It was a lot of fun, but it was like later. The bar was like closing or whatever, and me and my dad were talking, and I'm just like, look, I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to talk to him. And my dad's like, okay, I'll talk to your mom, and we'll figure something out. Like, they'll be at the pool tomorrow, so like go by the pool and then ask Eric to chat because you guys haven't talked. And then mom will keep Jen by, or delete that name. Not that person. His ex. We're not allowed to say. We don't say the names. So I come by. I say to Eric, like, "Hey, let's go talk on the deck. Let's watch the sunset." And he's like, "Okay." And then my mom was like, hey, stay with me. Let's blah, blah, blah. So we go up and we like sit on these chairs. And I'm like, I say like one thing. I'm just like, hey, how you doing, man? And it was like, that's all he needed to be asked. And he just went on. He just talked and on his own, literally, I'm just listening. It's like he's just been waiting for someone to say to ask like how things were going. And he revealed to himself and me that he doesn't think it's it. And it was a great conversation, and not far after, they weren't together anymore. And what was wild is that all these people who are part of the family didn't talk to him. They talked to me. And they'd been around for the last year. I hadn't. And my parents, in response to Eric, when he expressed concern to them, they said, it takes time. It takes time. So if I didn't show up, Eric would be fully in a relationship that would be hell. And just because my parents were probably told by their parents, it just takes time. You know, spoilers. Their parents' relationships failed. And I know that a lot of people in that age say it just takes time. But I think that's just slang for like you can't not do it. Like, it's such an interesting perspective. Like, what do you mean it just takes time? Because if either party like just exist, I think Eric would have just done what my parents did. Eric would have just chose to let his ex be terrible, and my mom, let my dad be terrible, and chose family, chose like kids. So it's just a moment in my life that I'm so happy that I was given the opportunity to help my brother, and all I had to do was make time and ask if he's okay. That's it. So marriage is hard. I'm fresh. I'm like rookie freshman, just married. But I knew. I've always known. I'm not scared. I'm serious about it because I want it to succeed. And I'm going to show up every day. And I'm going to be there for Amanda to help her through this. And I have been since day one. But it is very serious. You have to get on board. Both parties have to get on board. The story isn't it's one or the other now. It's not just what Amanda needs, or it's not just what Travis needs. And if someone doesn't get that, it causes friction. And that friction will destroy you. And that's like your communal little demon. It's either you fight for it or you give up. And giving up takes two shapes. And it has nothing to do with love. You could love every bit of someone. But that person, let's say if they're emotionally abusive, will continue if it's not challenged. They'll just rip you to shreds. And they won't know why. And you'll just be an empty husk of who you were. So, relationships are hard. Usually in the beginning they're not, but hilariously enough, me and Amanda have hit this wall, not a wall, but met this part of her throughout. A funny story from the beginning of our relationship was, and I don't know if Amanda will hate me for telling this story. Don't worry. Sorry, Amanda. Sorry, Kathy. So we're just starting to date, and I think I'm like at that time working on my mural. I have a mural at a restaurant in San Francisco, and I'm working, and so I'm like exhausted. But I still Amanda wants to hang out. And I'm like, I'll come through. I want to put effort into this thing. And I did. And I'm like so tired. We hung out and I was going to spend the night. And we're laying in bed. And I'm like drifting off. It's hard for me to fall asleep. And when I wake up again, it's hard for me to get back to sleep. My head is like a constant, like, but it doesn't matter. So I'm like drifting off to sleep. And Amanda knows that I have a hard time sleeping at this point. And Amanda randomly is like, I feel this like across my face, like not even like delicate. She just like goes down the profile as I'm like fully sleeping. And I'm just so confused. And it's like I'm just like, it's so late. And all I wanted to do is sleep. I literally told her that when I got there. And for some reason, she did this thing. And then come to find out, I'm like, why did you do that? And she was like, at first, she like goes through all of these iterations of lies, like this, that, something that makes it sound like it wasn't just she wanted me to stay up. So we cut through all the BS, and then she's like, I just wanted you to stay up. I wasn't ready for you to go to bed. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go home because I need to sleep. I'm tired. And then she's like, she starts to get all zipped up, like, oh no, like she thinks something really bad has happened. And even though I say, it's okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I really need to go to bed. And I don't know if you're going to do anything like that again. It's like, I have to sleep. And she's all concerned. And no matter what I say, she's not calming down, but I have to go home. So I end up being like, it's okay. And I give her a hug. And I'm like, it's fine. And then I go down and I get in my car and I look over to the apartment and there she is. She's coming out. And I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? And she goes to the window and I roll it down and she proceeds to like screech at me. Like just like the loudest. Like, don't leave. Like all this stuff. And I'm like, Amanda, you have to be quiet. The cops are going to be called. And at that point, like I've had like a few beers, but I mean, like I don't want to, I don't want anything to do with that. Like I'm good to drive. And then she's like just going and like, I'm trying to get her to stop talking that loud because it sounds like she's in duress. It sounds like if you're not really hearing it, it just sounds like a woman who needs help. So lo and behold, here comes a cop. And luckily they go by and I smile and I wave at them. And then I don't know if they get it or not, but they don't stop. So I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, Amanda, you need to go inside. You have to go inside. Like, you have to go inside. I have to get home. Like I cannot have like a DUI or something. Like, I don't know. Worst case scenario, and that moment, I think that was the first time that I really saw this thing I'd never seen before. And, hey, we're married now. I love Amanda with all my heart. And I believe that we're going to be the most kick-ass married couple. That's what I want. We are together very capable people. We have our store. We have so much fun. We can have so much fun. So my pitch is like, let's just only have fun. Let's just like drop all that other weird stuff. Like when you randomly want to be mean to me or something. And like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to come at you when you're mean to me and say, what is going on? So we'll see. I know that effort has been being put in. I know that she's probably traumatized her parents, but hey, it's all good. It's all just Amanda finding out who she is and deciding to be like, yes, this is me. And that's okay. And it's okay to talk about honestly. Man, this has been going on. It's almost been an hour. I'm going to go try and catch some of the spring training game. Hopefully it's on at Mucky Duck. If you... I'm not going to apologize. Because you know what? I don't know who you are. And if you listen to this already, you already are tuning in for exactly this thing. So thank you for listening. I'm Travis Straw. And remember to just... Life is great, guys, gals, not people not identifying with preconceived genders or whatever. Spectrum people. I don't know what everyone. Enjoy life. And I guarantee you, the moment you start uprooting your own crap, you will enjoy it more. Do the harder thing. Easy things are easy. I can binge eat. I can drink too much. I can do too much things that are bad. I could spend more money. I could do everything that everyone loves to do. Say no and earn it. Okay? That'd be great. You'll feel good. Like I'm telling you, this last week eating boiled chicken and hard-boiled eggs, somehow I was like really enjoying it, but also really feeling hungry for the first time in hella long. Because protein's good, bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat. Watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Bread makes you fat, cut out bread. Man, I was hungry. It felt great. And then this weekend was celebratory because first week done of my new job. Next week won't be the same. Still boiled chicken, but my cheat days will be more contained to just, like I'll make myself a grilled cheese or something. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great Sunday and be excellent to each other.